Ready? Cool.
Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Hoodie Neck. I haven't made a YouTube video in a long time, so thought I better make one. Today, making a video on linked lists and how to build one. And so today it's just gonna be kind of like how to build one and make one, and then from there maybe I'll make like some other videos like how to like reverse a linked list, or like how to like do different things like that. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. So first off, what you're gonna want to do is download some sort of like Java IDE. In my case, I'm using Eclipse because it's a good one. Yeah. Alright. There. Okay, anyway, so next thing you're gonna want to do is just create a new Java project. I guess we can call this, you can basically call it anything you want. In this case, we're gonna call it video 1. And then you can just go ahead and finish making your new assignment. Okay. And then in your source code, you're gonna want to create a new class, and we're gonna call this one linear node. Sorry, don't use capital for the first one. Actually, no, yeah, I do use capital. Linear node dot Java. Okay, and then from there you can just hit finish. Open this up. The fuck wasn't in your package? Hold on one sec. Okay, never mind. What you actually want to do is you're going to delete that. Delete. Yeah, delete. No, don't do it like that. Packages are for losers. You're not a loser, so we don't use packages. So actually, okay, so go back, make your class. In the package, set as default. Okay. There, just call it linear node dot Java. Finish. Nice. Now we don't have that package line. Package lines are for losers. Okay, so this is gonna be the actual class that we use to create the actual data structure, our linear node data structure. So from there, we're gonna create one more class. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. I have my notes here on the side.
I got blue faces up in my pockets, I'm not throwing no doves. Heart out my chest, I put that in the grave, I ain't showing no love. I am not talking about snails, like Tony Snell with slugs. Yeah.
Yes, then what you're gonna do is just make another class. Call this one anything you want. I'll call this one just call this like builder, because this is what we're actually gonna use. I mean, no, actually I'm gonna call this one my class. Okay, and then make sure you have public static void clicked, just so it creates that for you, so you don't have to do it. Okay. So anyway, so in the linear node class, what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna start off by, oh, and hold on, actually make this just so it takes in any type. I'm just gonna call this T. So this means now that this can basically just take like generic types. Maybe I'll do a video on that at some point. Anyways, okay, so first off, what we're going to want to do is create a variable called private variable called linear node T. We call this one next. Okay. Then we're gonna create another one called element. Okay. Next up, I'm gonna create the constructor for this class. So this is like if we're making an empty linear node object. So we can just call this linear node.
I got some sugar, some sweetness.
Okay, and so this one doesn't have any input parameters, and that's why it's an empty one. Okay. Next up, what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna create. So in this case, we're just gonna set next equals to null, and element equals to null as well. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we can just copy and paste that. So now we're gonna have our second constructor, but in this case, this is for like when we actually do take in an element. So we'll call this elim. Okay. And then what we're gonna want to say again, next is equal to null, but this case, the actual element is gonna be equal to elim. Okay. Alright, and then we're gonna create our first reference to the next node. We'll call this one public linear node. Linear node. Call this one get next. Public linear node get next. Alright, and in this course, this is just going to return next for us. Alright, and then we're going to take public public void. This one doesn't have any return statements, so that's our using void. This one is set next. Okay. In this case, we're going to take linear node type T, so T just means anything. Node. And we call this next equals node. So this just sets the next node. So, okay, so we have this one to return to us what the next is. In this case, we're actually setting our next node to whatever we tell it its next node is. Alright. Then, we're going to have our next one. We're going to call this one public T get element. In this case, this one's actually just going to return to us what the element is that we're storing in our node is. Alright. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to call our last one called public void set element. And we're just going to say element is equal to elim. Sorry, it's supposed to be T. Make sure you guys using capitals too. Or it won't work. Okay, so there we go. So now we have all our methods that we need to create our linked list. So we have our two variables. We have the next, points to the next node in our list. We have element, which tells us what's inside our node. Okay, we have a constructor, create an empty node. We have a constructor to create a node with whatever our element is. In this case, we're saying T, which is generic type, so it could be whatever. For example, like an integer, string, whatever you want. We have this one to get next. This returns us next, which is whatever we set our next node to. In this case, set next is equal to node, our new node. And then we have get element. This returns to us what the element is, so whatever we set our element to right here, this will return it to us. Okay? So now we can go into our main class, and what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna create we're gonna use that linear node class and to create a linear node data structure. Okay. So Okay, so first thing we're gonna want to do here is we're gonna say linear node integer. So this is actually going to take in an integer. You don't actually need to have integer, but it's probably good practice to put it there. Call this node 1. You could call this anything you want, but in this case we'll just call it node 1 equals new linear node integer. And we'll take in, we'll set this as 1. Okay. Now, just to speed things up, just gonna copy and paste this. Java's gonna complain because we can't have a multiple, we can't declare the same variable multiple times. That's why. So we'll change this to node 2, node 3, node 4, node 5, node 6. So then we'll also change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what we've done is we've created 6 nodes, 6 node objects, and we've set their elements. So we've created 6 of these, and we've set their elements equal to, in this case, integers, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So we're also actually, it probably makes sense to let's make a pointer. So this is just going to reference the first node in our list, just so that we can iterate through it later. Maybe for a different video. We'll just call this one linear node. Just call this front. So right now front is equal to null. Alright. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to set. So we have all our nodes, right? So now what we actually want to do is we want to link them all together. Okay. So we're going to go node 1 dot set next to node 2. Okay. So now we have our node 1 object, which stores the integer 1, and we're setting its next element. We're setting the next node, so the one that it points to next, to node 2. Okay. Next up, what we're going to want to do is go node 2 dot set next to node 3. Okay. So now we can copy and paste this again just to save a bit of time. Okay, just run node 3, node 4, one more time, node 5, node 6. Okay, so node 1 points to node 2, node 2 points to node 3, 3 should point to 4, 4 should point to 5, 5 should point to 6, and then already 6 is already pointing to null in this case, even if we don't say anything. But it's probably good practice just so we don't get confused that we just set that to null for now. And boom, there you go. So now we have created a linear node data structure which stores all these nodes. So node 1 is equal to all these. Okay, so what we'll do now is we can just say front is equal to node 1. Node 1. Okay, so now at this point front is pointing to node 1, so we basically actually just made a copy, in which case front is equals to that. Alright, and then just to prove that this is actually how you do it and how this works, I'm just going to copy and paste this oh my god, what am I doing? This method that I created earlier. You guys can just use this. This is actually just going to print out each element in the data structure that we just created. Turn result. Okay. Say node is equal to. Okay, and then we could probably just say something like system dot out dot print line. We're just gonna say print list. Also, by the way, this is not probably the best way to actually print out linked list, but I'm just running out of time here, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And just show you guys, so you guys can just get an idea. So what this does is this prints. So this calls print list. Okay, and we're putting in front as our input parameters. Okay, so we're saying linear node current is equal to front. Okay, so this is a different front. These aren't the same fronts. This is the input front. Okay, so it's saying current is equal to front. Okay, then we're creating an empty string, and we're saying, well, current is not equal to null. Okay, we're going to do result plus current dot get element plus our space, and then current equals current on next. Okay, so we're starting at node 1, which is the front, and we're getting the element, which in this case is 1, and then we're adding a space. Okay, and then we're saying now current is equal to current dot get next, which in this case is node 2. We're going through all the way until we get to node 6, which in this case, our set next is null, so it'll stop. So when I run this, there we go. Prints out our data structure. And yeah, anyway, so that's been the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I'm going to try and make some more videos. And I have a couple ideas for some ones, like maybe a binary tree. And if you guys have any questions, yeah, just leave them in the comment. I'll show the code for this just one more time. And yeah, have a good day.